I survived, and so will you. What I've been doing since my last update a year ago. My profile contains posts with my history. 41M, ex of 16 years, together 20, had an affair with my best friend. I'm 6 months post-divorce. I only have 3 negatives. 1. My 16-year-old hasn't spoken with me in 10 months. 2. The divorce cost me $50,000 and I got less than 50%. 3. I'm no longer allowed to own motorcycles, but I'm working on this. I'm playing the long game, but I guess 2 major wrecks are probably enough for any one person. In June of 2022, my ex ramped up the parental alienation. She flat out refused to enforce any rules about our son's education. He ended up failing every class he was attending. This is in addition to failing 2 classes the year before. She keeps telling everyone, our son included, that social activities are more important than classwork. The situation became unbearable for me in June. My parents called me and had an intervention. They told me that it was time to leave me son with my ex, let his life stabilize, and hope that he would thank me later. Walking away from him is the hardest thing I have ever done. My father walked away from my mom when I was 4 and I've never forgiven him or spoken to him because of it. I had been dating a lady for a year at this point. I didn't see our futures being compatible, so I ended the relationship. I set out to road trip from the northeast to southwest, solo. I lived in a tent and cooked whatever I could on a small charcoal stove. I bathed in streams or water hoses I found at truck stops. I worked full-time during this 2-month-long trip from libraries, co-working spots, and any free Wi-Fi could find. I was searching for a place to retire to. A place to call home. I've never lived anywhere more than 3 or 4 years. I get itchy feet and move on. I arrived home and realized I couldn't stay. I had lost most of my social circles due to AP being a member of most of them. Other than my son, the closest family I had was over 1,000 miles away. I had only moved to that city to advance my ex's career. The city held nothing for me. I ended my apartment lease, I sold my 2 cars, each a year old, and I made $10,000 off them, 0% APR hee. I sold the 3 dirt bikes I owed. I sold most furniture and just kept my hobbies, clothes, and electronics. I put all my belongings into 2 box containers. I boarded a flight to Europe with a 40L backpack. I stayed with family in Europe, but also hiked through Spain and France. I visited Ireland. I hitchhiked through Morocco. I made some amazing friends and have so many crazy stories. I slept on the side of roads, in bushes, got caught 60 miles from the closest town in an Atlantic storm, smoked hash with a Palestinian in Morocco. I had to meet family in the Philippines in October, so decided to fly to Bangkok for a few weeks first. My mom warned me as I was boarding the plane to Bangkok that I wouldn't escape the country without an addition. I joked with her that I'd be okay and would leave Thailand a single man. Moms really do know everything. I was in Thailand all of 2 days before I met someone. We spent 2 weeks together. She's one of the strongest women I have ever met. And yet, at the same time, she's only 5 foot tall and scared of everything. I had to leave after 2 weeks to meet family in the Philippines and vacation for 3 weeks. I promised my lady friend that I would return to Thailand afterwards as my flights to my next destination, Egypt, left from Bangkok. I think she doubted me a little, but we stayed in touch. I think she didn't believe I was actually returning until she saw me walk out of the airport and meet her. Her family, from rural Thailand, are the nicest people I have ever met. Last weekend I met all her aunts, uncles, cousins, and grandmother. They are so humble, kind, caring, and friendly. My mom, her boyfriend, and my adopted uncle were down this way, from Europe, last month. We took them to visit my girlfriend's hometown and family. We drank and played bingo until 3 a.m. Her family doesn't speak English and my family doesn't speak Thai. But it didn't matter. Thais never hug, ever, but her mom hugged my mom when we left. We've been together ever since. I thought I was going to be able to stay in Thailand because my job didn't care where I was physically located. That job fell apart in February. I scrambled to find a new job. Unfortunately, it requires that I return to the US. And as my mom warned me, I'm +1 now. We went to Taipei for 2 weeks over New Year's and had an absolute blast. My ex never planned anything for us to do. My girlfriend plans everything. She runs the plans by me, we modify them a little, and off we go. Some days, when we had no plans, we just walked out the hotel door and figured something out. We laughed, joked, ate tons of fun food, bought gifts for her family and friends. I've lived in 4 countries and visited another 25 or so. Our trip to Taiwan was the most fun I've ever had. She's selling her car, her condo, saying goodbye to her 24-year-old son. He has an amazing career, and will be back for his wedding in December, quitting her job as a VP of marketing for a multinational drink company. You can find this drink in every store in the US. We bought a retirement home in Thailand that we'll return to in about 10 years. I said I'd never marry again. I've said, marriage is a game in Vega that costs $50,000 to play, cost of my divorce, there's a 50% chance of winning, divorce rate, and the prize for winning is nothing. However, I've always been one to gamble, so I'll toss the dice and the future only knows what will happen. I listed the cons of surviving the affair above. Now let me list the positives. 1. Clarity. When I married the first time, I had 0 dating experience and basically married the first thing I stuck my dick in. I didn't know who I truly was or what I was worth. 2. Sport cars. I bought and sold an amazing little sports car. I only had it for a year, but it's the most fun I've ever had driving a car. 3. Dirt bikes. I bought and sold the dirt bike I always wanted but couldn't afford with my ex's bills for maid, haircuts, and fingernails, whatever. 4. Salary increase. I have doubled my salary since the divorce. I'm also a government employee now with a full pension. 5. Minimalist lifestyle. My ex wanted, and bought while we were married, a huge, stupid home. She never wanted to clean, so if I didn't do the cleaning, the house was either a mess, or she would pay a maid, that ended up stealing from us. I've been living in a 400 square feet condo and absolutely love it. The winter heating bills is more than I spend per month to live right now. 6. $1,000 per MO expenses. For the last year, I've been spending only $1,000 per MO. That's rent, phone, flights, utilities, food, etc. The rest has been going to my mom to pay her back for covering my divorce lawyer costs. I'll be done paying her back in a few months. 7. Wingman. My girlfriend is my wingman. We do everything together. We're 50-50 on everything. She gets angry, playfully, if I suggest going to the grocery store without her. 8. Sex. I'm generally not one to boast about stuff like this, but holy hell. We've been dating for 6 months and it's sex daily, if not more. Morning, noon, and night. My ex had so many rules about when and where we could have sex. My girlfriend, well, I'm not sure she believes in rules. 9. A will to live. I've lived on the edge for a really long time. I have a lot of extreme hobbies. I volunteer in an extremely dangerous setting. I traveled to Egypt during Arab Spring. I've been stuck in an airport as a riot was going on outside. I have a lot of life insurance and never really cared about when my time on Earth was done. That has come to an end. I've slowed down and I want to live for as long as I can. 10. At peace. I don't know how to describe how I feel other than to say that I am at peace. I could never sit still before. If I had 4 hours of free time, I'd be out mountain biking, or skydiving, or scuba diving, or whatever. It killed me to sit still. Now, not so much. I can watch a documentary, or practice Thai, or go for a walk and look for a new street food vendor. All my friends and family comment on how I've slowed down and they are thankful for it. 11. Just say yes. I've learned to just say yes to stuff. Life is so much more fun when yes is the answer. I've eaten food that would make most people puke. I don't enjoy it, but that's not the point. Saying yes lights up her eyes. She asks if we can go to a temple that takes 5 hours to drive to when it's 110 degrees when we get there. Yes, let's go. She asks if we can meet her friends at a club in Bangkok. I hate clubs. Yes, let's go. 12. Adventures every day. She had never ridden a train before meeting me. She's small, petite, and nervous and didn't want to be on a train solo. I basically had to drag her to her first train ride. She spent the entire time grinning like a kid at Christmas, staring out the window, yelling at me that I wasn't paying enough attention to things passing by outside. We've taken her family to more temples in the last 6 months than they've seen in the last 6 years. So, here we are. In a few weeks, she takes a leap of faith and moves with me to America. I never thought I would return to the US. I definitely didn't think I'd be returning with a +1. We'll be relocating to a city that my dad and brother live in. I haven't lived within 1,000 miles of family in over a decade. I'm super excited, and even more so because I have someone to share it with. I survived, and so will you.